Laws for bandit signs. I almost jumped in the other video and started talking to you about it, but I would always recommend finding out what your local laws are. They are different from city to county to even sometimes neighborhood. With that being said, one of the things that we do with our bandit signs, which have kept us from getting in trouble, is we usually will put them to a Google Voice. That Google Voice will not have our company name. It might say, hey, my name's John, or hey, this is John. If you're calling about selling a house, leave me your name and number. What I wouldn't do is be, hey, this is Michael Green at Quick Cash Home Buyers, because if there was a code enforcement person, it would make it really easy for them to send us a find. Often what a code enforcement person will do if they can't easily find you is just leave you a message and tell you to take your signs down and not to put signs in the areas that you've done that. My recommendation to you is if you get that if they're gracious enough to do that, not fine you, which is what they do like 99% of the time, has been my experience and what I've dealt with. Yours might be very different depending on what code or what city you're in. You obviously want to be aware of that, but in my area where I'm at, I found that most of the time they're nice enough to say, hey, just take these down, and then I oblige and I go do it and knock them out and don't put it back in that area anymore. The areas that tend to get the best results are the ones that no one really cares about. Like, you won't hear a lot from the neighbors calling or from the sign police, I call them. They're not going to call you a lot in the areas that you actually are going to get the best results in. So if you're getting a lot of flack or a lot of negative feedback from neighborhood people, then you want to really listen to the fact that that's the case. Because most of the times, the code enforcement, they have bigger fish to fry. They're not so worried about bandit signs if you're just not being like really overtly breaking that rule. Now, what I do know is this is not a criminal law that you're breaking. This is more of like a citation. So you can be fined, and we have been fined 2 times in 10 years. And we've literally put signs out the whole time we've been in business. So I think our total loss on those 2 times we were fined were maybe $1,000 or $2,000. But again, we've done close to 200 deals. So for me, I've decided that the risk versus the reward, there's a huge difference between one versus the other. So I do make sure that I keep doing it because there's not a big enough consequence for it right now. But I am also, the reason that I don't get fined too often, again, is I make sure I'm being respectful, because that's really a big thing. So most cities will require you to put them up on Friday afternoon and take them down by Sunday evening. We personally don't do that, but if you did do that, then you would run into no trouble with the law if that's the law in your particular city. So if you really wanted to never have a problem and guarantee it, then it would just be a matter of putting them up and taking them down. Me personally, I put them up and then wait for them to just take them away, and if they last 5 days, 7 days, all that's great, and then the following week I just go put them right back up, and I expect that I'm going to lose them, because the cost of the sign that I lose, it actually costs me way more in my time to go take them up and put them down. So I don't believe in taking them up and putting them down, but I know there's some people that do that, and if that's what you want to do, there's no problem with that at all. Obviously, no telephone poles, we talked about that before, really big one, and no state signs. These are the areas that I've gotten the biggest amount of, like, what I call hate phone calls or angry people phone calls. And then if there's neighborhoods where there's a big community association, they give you a warning or they get really angry, go ahead and just take them down in that area, because that area is going to call the code enforcement and make them do something. They're going to be so annoying to the people in the city that the city's not going to really want to fine you, because they don't care that much about this, but they're going to do it, and they're just going to keep bugging them until they do. And most of the time when the city code enforcement calls me, like, can you just take these down so these people will stop bugging me? They're driving me crazy. And if you don't comply to that, then that has been the time when we've gotten fines. So the reason I know, and the reason that I am willing to go take them down, is because in the past, the 2 times I was fined, we were like, we're not taking those down. And then next thing you know, the person actually we got on their target list, and they went and made it their business to find us, essentially. So yeah, we don't want to make anyone angry. So if people are getting really angry, then just choose another target area. And most likely, if the area you've picked is this passionate about signs and not putting them up, then you probably would be good for you to decide maybe to pick another area.